Welcome to Beyond the Strikes, and I'm delighted to say we're joined by your new favourite fighter, Alex Polizzi. Alex, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, getting back into it. Took my obligatory week off and starting to get back into working out and getting ready to have a fun show for the next one.
Honestly, well, it was a fun show for the last one, so massive congratulations on your Bellator 276 win. It was such a great fight. Have you had a chance to watch it back?
Yep. The night of the fight, I caught just kind of the highlights, not my specific highlights, but some Jose's, and I watched it from every angle and a lot of it in slow motion. But yeah, since going back and rewatching it, have gotten to pick it up again. A lot of that second period, like I was saying, was kind of my first time experiencing it, if you know what I mean. But
How
yeah,
did it feel like in the deep water? Because I mean, I think a lot of fighters would have been it.
this is what I was saying to somebody else. The getting punched and Jose hopping on top and landing those strikes and grabbing at legs and trying to hang on. A lot of that was kind of happened to somebody else. I'm going to be honest. See that knee landed true. It landed great. My head was wide open. My defenses were down. Really, I just kind of I remember in the second round I was like, man, that guy's getting armbarred pretty bad. And I was like, wait, no, that's me. Hold on.
Oh, well, it was absolutely incredible. And to go back to the start, where did you grow up and how did you get into combat sports?
Well, I was a little kid and just kind of I was flipping back and forth between a lot of different things, as kids do,
Mhm.
trying out stuff. Baseball is a little too much technique and not enough athleticism. I wanted some more defense. And, soccer had too many rules. American football, I played that for a little bit, but I was like, I want something a little more. And my older brother, one of his friends was starting to dabble into wrestling, and I thought this is something I could get behind. And yeah, that just kind of started a lifelong passion for kind of putting the hurt on people, I suppose. Yeah, wrestled for a long time. As I was going up through high school, was kind of the revival of mixed martial arts. There was a period where I think I was a little too young to get into it, and it almost seemed a little, especially for a younger kid, it wasn't seen as a sport so much as it was a spectacle.
Mhm.
Back when UFC was, here's a karate guy versus a boxer. Here's this huge sumo wrestler versus this kickboxer. There was no rules. There was nothing.
I mean, those
Um,
early days were wild. I remember I spent there was a weekend a couple of months ago where there was no fights on, and I just went back and watched some of the really like UFC one and all of that. It was wild.
yeah,
It was crazy.
there's no gear. There's no rules. There's no weight classes. Guys are getting punched right in the junk. Oh man, it was nuts. It was nuts. But it kind of held off for a little bit after that, but I think it kind of legitimized itself when I was going through high school. I was still, real focused on wrestling. Wanted to make, I had Olympic aspirations, but as it happens to a lot of college wrestlers after their career, you decide maybe it's not in the cards for me. It's not gonna happen. um, and then for probably 2 months, I was like, I'm just gonna stay in shape. I'm gonna run and I'm gonna lift. And then, yeah, it wasn't enough. I still had that competitive edge in me. I still needed that uh that competition and being able to put my hand on somebody and really get after them. And I thought, well, MMA is the next best thing, and just been doing it for fun. Here we are.
I know, here we are in Bellator, and I have to say, Bellator have been putting on some incredible cards recently. It's like we've got tickets for when Bellator comes over to London. We went a couple of years ago at Wembley, and it's just brilliant. It's like such a great show, and there's so many like absolute stars in Bellator now. It's just brilliant. It feels a good place to be, I think, at the moment.
Excellent. You'll have to see if you can land some eyes on my teammate of mine. Mark Lemminger is going to be fighting over on the London card.
Yeah. That would be absolutely brilliant. We'd love to have him on the show. Love to put a good word in. Say, just don't mention all the stuff about getting time differences wrong and put the little one to sleep. We'll leave that one out. Can you remember the first MMA fight you watched and just thought, do you know what, this is absolutely for me?
You know, I can't remember the exact one, but just being in wrestling and combat sports in general, there was even even in the beginning, back in those Wild West days we're talking about, there were wrestlers on there. So I mean, if you're in it, if you were a traditional wrestler, jiu-jitsu practitioner, kickboxer, boxing, whatever, in the back of your head, you're always like, there's MMA. There's always this thing going on, and it's just another avenue to better yourself and further your skills. We even had a guy on our high school wrestling team that would come back and he's like, oh man, I went to this jiu-jitsu class and I was learning how to choke, and I'd be like, I bet you can't choke me. Teenagers are.
It's so true. I mean, wrestling, like, it feels like the wrestlers are taking over across every organization at the moment. It's like, if you don't have that wrestling base, you're going to be in deep water pretty quickly in most of the fights.
It's what the sport of wrestling is. The sport of wrestling is at its very core, it's you're standing up and you're trying to take the guy down, or you're down and you're trying to get up. Now, if you're somebody who's good at wrestling and you're good at dictating where the fight's going to happen, there's a good chance that you're going to put yourself in a position, you're going to dictate where the fight happens, get yourself into a position where you have the best shot at winning.
Absolutely. And is there any particular fighter that maybe like historically or currently that you always make sure you're watching their fights?
I'm gonna break it to you. I'm kind of a bad fan of the sport. I'm really and this goes across every sport that I've ever played. I'm much more, come on, let me in there, let me do it, versus I'm at home watching it, because I feel like, and in the past it's been, if I'm watching it on TV and I see all this violence happen, now I'm all amped up. Now I want to go fight. And it doesn't lend itself to dinner time very much. So,
oh, that's so funny. And like, so fighter nicknames, like we love fighter nicknames, and yours is brilliant. So, what's the story behind Eazy? And I think I know the answer just from a saying we say in the UK a lot. But I'm guessing.
Interesting, because see, it was actually a teammate of mine brought it back, Alex Gilpin, who would I'm not sure if he had a fight over the pond recently or not, but I remember him coming back. He was already a pro when I was just starting out, transitioning from wrestling into amateur, and I think it was after my first or second fight, and he's like, "Man, you made that look easy." And then last name Eazy Polizzi. There's a rhyme scheme there, and it kind of, that was the way it kind of unraveled.
Over here, so like we've got a saying where it's easy peasy, so easy peasy lemon squeezy. So I was thinking easy Polizzi, like absolutely genius.
Yeah, it lends itself easy to the rhyme scheme, and it helps you remember. It's snappy. It helps you remember. The only other one is I remember there's actually another Eazy in Bellator, which is Ed Ruth, great collegiate wrestler. He's Eazy Ed Ruth. I don't know. I think Eazy fits better for my thing, but
yeah, Oh, I mean,
Technically,
it's
he was there
absolutely
first.
perfect for you. And so we've got a question now. So it's our hypothetical round. And the question is, you've been booked to perform on a TV variety show, but you can't showcase MMA. What act do you perform?
What act do I perform? Oh man,
Any
dipping into
hidden
my
talents
my
that people don't
non
know
my
about?
non mixed martial arts skills. Uh
How are you at singing?
I'm a very I'm a very right brain sort of guy, so the creative stuff kind of flies out the window for me. Honestly, if it was going to be a variety show, maybe I could do some stylistic cooking. I'm a big fan of those cooking shows, Food Network cooking channel, and although I never need to, sometimes I like to just at home. I'll do the splash of sauce and then the spoon over it and make it look real nice.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Do you have like a signature dish that you like?
A signature dish that I like. You know, uh, um, it used to be just a easy like pasta bolognese. Since the fiance and I have kind of been goofing with the low carb diety thing, so I've been missing out on pasta as of recently, but I've switched it out and I've actually tried to do again a real sauce heavy dish, but I like a good butter chicken.
Nice. Very, very
Yeah,
nice.
good butter chicken. You throw some cauliflower rice underneath it, and it's got that heavy cream, and you know you can up and down the spice of it as well if you whatever you're doing for chili flakes or hot curry.
I feel like a
Yeah.
YouTube channel coming on for you. This sounds like
Oh.
a like I think Volkanovski does something similar, doesn't it? I don't know if you've seen he does his cooking and stuff. So there's definitely something in it. People love it.
People love food. It's half. Look, I get a lot of people that'll tell me things like, oh well, you cutting and man, it looks like sometimes that you go a weight down. Maybe, but also like food. It's there. It's there all the time. I don't want to miss out on that.
So last couple of questions we've got for you. First one, when's the latest on when we can see you back in the cage? I mean, I know you've literally just got out of the cage, but we're really excited to see you back in there.
Um, just got out. I'm excited to be back. Coaches and are kind of making sure that hey, that was a pretty good knee you took. Make sure that you're easing back into things. But you know, on the other hand, on the other side of that, we were dutiful. Been taking the week off. Been taking care of it. Got scanned. Not even a broken nose.
Wow.
If you can believe it. Yeah, no cracks, no breaks, no nothing. So hopefully I'll be back in the gym soon, training hard, getting ready. And although you might not see me before the London card. Bellator, I'm hoping wants to put me back in there sooner than later.
That would be amazing. And loved your post that you did on the after the fight, the one with I think it was Little Nicky, the Adam Sandler post that was on there. It was great. Big Adam Sandler fan, so that went down very well.
You know, I see lots of these posts, and I mean, like, there's, you know, it's part of the fight game now. Being on social media, being you know, interactive with fans, and being somewhat of a personality. Because if you just go out there and you're blank slate, even if you chalk up wins, sometimes it's not enough. People want to have to watch you, and they want to have to follow you.
Yeah, I agree, and it's kind of what we're all about, to be honest, because we really believe that the more you know a fighter, the more enjoyable it is to watch them fight. And like, I mean, we definitely believe that really strongly. So, and I think
there's a little part of me though. Does it make it? Is it all about like, oh yeah, I know that fighter. I've been watching his interviews. He's a great guy. I want to see him win, or is it like, man, I know that guy. He talked about eating too much, and now he's bleeding all over the mat. Like, is there?
I don't know. Hopefully the first one. I know that's how we
Hopefully.
feel anyway. We like getting to know the fighters, and it's just great seeing, like, particularly when you kind of speak to someone like relatively like as before they're kind of starting to peak, and then it just absolutely blows up. It's just there's nothing better to kind of see it, and it's brilliant, brilliant. And the last question we've got for you is, over the next few years, what is it you're looking to achieve? Like, what will be the brilliant, like, great achievements for you?
I mean, the brilliant, great achievement is kind of what all fighters are looking at. I mean, no matter what guy you're talking to, everyone wants to rise to the top of the rankings. Everybody's chasing that belt. Yeah. So I mean, we're breaking through a little bit on those rankings. And like I said before, you know, it's ultimately up to Bellator who they're going to put me against, and matchmaking, and you know, all this stuff. That's above my pay grade. You know, as long as they're paying me to show up and get into the ring and fight people, I'm having a good time. Staying healthy, and just keep putting on better fights for folks, continuing my craft, and because that's what it is. You know, I think sometimes people take themselves a little too seriously about it. We're a bunch of dudes fighting in a cage. Like, if you're not having fun with it, like, what's the point?
I know you kind of want that little bit of the Wild West in there, don't you? From the original.
You had well, because if you weren't into that, you'd be watching boxing, you'd be watching kickboxing, you'd be watching wrestling. If you wanted the pure sport, you'd watch that. Yeah. And I tell people all the time, you know, I have fans that have been, you know, following me since I was wrestling in middle school singlet. I say, you know, watching wrestling is a lot different, because you have to know the sport. You have to. This is how it's scored. This is the rules. This is everything. You can take anyone who's been a human for a little bit. You show them a fight, and they say, "Oh, that guy looks like he's winning. That guy looks like he's losing." There's something primal about it that I think is very, very, very approachable to everyone. So
yeah. Well, honestly, it's been an absolute pleasure catching up with you today. It really, really has. We can't wait to see you back in action. So just finally want to say massive thank you, and yeah, have a great day.
Thanks. You as well. I assume since you put the kiddos down that it's night for you, but it
is night. Yeah, we're gonna have a pizza, probably a movie, Netflix.
There you go. Keeping things pretty chill. All right. I hope you have a good one.